So welcome everyone and welcome to the fall term. Tonight and next week we will be working on legs and feet. So just lie down and make sure that you have some room to put your arms at the side. Nice and comfortable. And if you have a wall to put your feet on, that also can be nice. So just adjusting so you've got lots of room. Something myself and remembering how to adjust in my space as I start teaching again. And just bend your knees. And just bring your feet nice and wide if you've got a yoga mat, as wide as the mat, and angle your knees in. Place your hands on your belly. And you're going to inhale, expand your belly. And exhale, draw your belly in and make a ha sound. Inhale, expand the belly. Exhale, draw the belly in, make a ha sound. Just keep this going your own timing. Inhale, expanding the belly. Exhale, draw the belly in. You can have the hands on the belly. You can also, some people like to have a bit of a weight. So a block, a pillow. And you can just feel the block or the pillow rise and fall as you breathe. Now, some of you are new to yoga, and if you're new to yoga, you might be hearing me make this sound with my throat as I constrict my throat and make a valve. And this allows us to slow the breath down. And it sounds like the ocean. It's a soothing sound for the nervous system. And I'd just like to acknowledge that most of us here today are on the unceded territories of the First Nations people. Whatever nation that you're situated on, if you could just take a moment and reflect on that, if that's appropriate. And just giving thanks that we get to enjoy this land, this beautiful land in Canada, that we work and play and enjoy our lives on. And also acknowledging that yoga also comes from an indigenous background from ancient India, at least 4,000 years ago. The practices I'm teaching you come from India, and they've been adapted for you. And when you're ready, we're going to start moving the body, and we're going to coordinate the body movement with the breath. If it's comfortable, straighten your legs, otherwise keep them bent. If you have a wall to put your feet on, you can try that. It can be very grounding to put your feet on a hard surface. When you're ready, you're going to inhale, bring your arms up. So you might not be able to bring them up very much. If you can, bring them all the way overhead. I know some of you have shoulder injuries. And exhale, bring them down. If it feels more comfortable, bring your arms to the side. So I'm just going to show with the one hand. So the arms can come to the sides rather than overhead. And just bring them to a height that works for you. Inhale, coming up, and exhale, arms coming down. Timing the breath with the movement. Inhale, expanding. And exhale, contracting. Do this in your own timing. You don't have to do it with me. Just 2 more times. We're going to move into the legs and feet. So we're just going to start by pointing and flexing the feet. And then we're going to add on. So inhale, the same movement, the arms coming to your place. If you've had enough of the arm movement, you can just leave your arms by your sides. Focus on your legs, so your choice. Inhale, you're going to point your toes. And if you can, tuck your chin in, lengthen the back of your neck. And exhale, release that chin lock as you flex your toes towards your nose. If you can, lift your thighs away from your knees. So pull up the kneecaps. And inhale, point your toes. Now, if you have any hyperextension in your knees and this action does not work for you, do not pull up on the kneecaps. But if it feels comfortable, feel free to add that contraction at the end. This is strengthening the muscles around the knees. And warming up the whole back, neck and shoulders. Now, if you have some lower back discomfort while you're doing this, you can put a block or two under your thighs or a pillow as you do this, and that should make it feel more comfortable. So if you're lying on your bed at home, you could put a big pillow. I've got a yoga block I'm using. And if you want to make this harder, you can keep your feet off the ground the whole time you're doing this. And this really makes you use your leg muscles even more. If you have a bit of discomfort in the knees, you can put that block or pillow under the knees to give a bit more support, and then you won't hyperextend. A little bit easier. So just play with the prop according to your needs. And really pull up on the kneecaps if it's comfortable. And just finishing up. And hopefully you feel like you worked your legs a little bit. I'm going to remove that block or pillow. And we're going to turn our feet out and point and flex this way. So I'm going to show with my hands. point your toes like this and flex. Point and flex with your feet turned out. If you've ever done ballet, it will feel a little bit like that. This just works the knees in a little bit different way. And then we're going to put the two together, which will be a coordination exercise. Let's just leave the arms out of it for now, unless you want to add them. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Again, you can make it harder by adding the prop underneath the thighs or the knees. And keep the feet off the ground the whole time. So it's like Charlie Chaplin feet. If you're not a ballet person, you can think also of Charlie Chaplin feet. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. If you have those toe stretchers, you could have those toe stretchers in for this whole class today. Now we're going to combine these. So inhale, you're going to point your toes away from you. Exhale, flex your toes towards you. Inhale, open your feet and point, still turned out. And exhale, bring your feet together and flex your toes towards your nose as you exhale. Inhale, open your feet and point. Exhale, draw the toes together. Exhale, flex. Inhale, open and point. Exhale, draw together and bring the toes towards you. So you're making a circle. If that makes no sense, just make a circle with your toes and don't worry about the breathing. Try the other direction. Inhale, point your toes away from you, open. Exhale, flex the toes and draw them together. They're still flexed. Inhale, point the toes away from you, open the feet. Exhale, flex and draw the feet together. Again, you're making circles with the feet. And feel how that lubricates the knees. And if you do it right, it's also core exercise. It's also strengthening the muscles around the knees. And just finish up and rest. So you might be feeling your knees quite a bit right now. Just take a rest. All right. So for the next exercise, I invite you to take your mat and just put it in half so that you can slide your legs on your floor. So feel much better doing that. And in my new setup, I actually can see all of your pictures. So if you do want to show your camera, if you want to show a view of you yourself, feel free, because I will look occasionally, see how you're doing. It's always nice to see how my students are doing and not be looking at a tiny screen. So I hope you can see me well. So this time we're going to, as we exhale, we're going to draw one leg in at a time. Inhale, bring the leg up to the sky to where you can. Exhale, bring the leg down. And inhale, extend. Now, if this is too hard, you can bend the opposite leg as you do this. So exhale, draw the leg in. Inhale, extend. It's much easier with the other leg bent. Exhale, bring it down. And inhale, extend. You can keep that going on that side, or if your both legs are straight, go side to side. Exhale, draw the other leg in. Inhale, extend the leg up. Exhale, draw the leg down. Inhale, extend. And at the end, I'm going to flex my toes towards my nose and pull up on my thighs. Exhale, other side. Inhale, extend. So if you're doing one leg at a time, just switch periodically to the other side. Exhale, down. Inhale, extend. If you do this right, it's also core exercise. Start to exhale before you start to move. Exhale, draw the leg in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, pointing down, use those core muscles. Inhale, extend. Now you can add the arms to this. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bringing one leg in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, draw the leg down. Inhale, extend the leg, arms up, and do the other side last time. Exhale, draw the leg in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, pointing the toe down. The further away from your core, the harder it is. Inhale, extend, bring the arms up if you like. We're going to add now both legs if this works for you. Otherwise, do one leg at a time. Exhale, draw both legs in. Now you can really feel your core doing the work here as you draw the legs in using the pelvic floor. Draw the knees all the way to the chest. Inhale, bring the legs up to the sky, the arms overhead to your place. Exhale, pointing the toes down as you bring your hands down towards your hips. And inhale, extend your legs out and your arms up. So this is the full practice. Please modify any of those other steps you want to do. Exhale, draw everything to the center. Hands coming by your hips, knees to the chest. Inhale, legs coming up, arms to the floor behind you or just overhead. Exhale, bring your hands by your hips as you point your toes down. Further away from you is harder. And inhale, lengthen. So this is working the legs on range of motion, just warming up the whole lower body, but also strengthening the core. Exhale, last time, drawing everything in towards the center as the hands come down. Inhale, bringing the legs up, flexing the toes towards the nose, hands overhead. Exhale, bringing the toes to the ground, hands by the hips. And inhale, extend. And bring your arms down and just rest comfortably for a minute. Feel free to bend the legs, angle the knees in, and rest here any way that's comfortable for your lower back. So just resting. I always like to put my feet at the wall, so it helps my hips keep even, whatever works for you. Just notice how your body feels. If you have one hip that tends to be a little higher than the other, you might be feeling right now that that hip that's normally higher has dropped down. If you've got one side of your lower back that bothers you, you might be feeling that that side is starting to wake up. Or you've got a bit more circulation in the side of your body maybe that doesn't work quite as well as the other. These would all be normal feelings to be experiencing at this point. All right, so we're now going to bring the legs to the sides. So just make sure you've got room to put your arms to the sides anywhere that's comfortable. So it can be shoulder height or a little higher. And I want you to have room to bring your legs to the sides as well. So this class is quite three-dimensional tonight, so make sure you've got lots of space. And again, have the floor that you can slide on. Ideally, you can do this on a carpet. A mat is less ideal. So you're going to inhale, you're going to bring one leg to the side. Try to keep your knee facing up. So don't turn it out, keep it facing up, and then bring it back to the center and angle your toes in. And this will actually get into the hip as well. So this is working the whole leg and the hip. Now we're going to do the other side. Inhale, open, keep that knee facing up to the sky, and exhale, angle the toes in as you bring the feet together. So this is strengthening the sides of the legs into the hips. Inhale, opening. It's also just working on alignment of the legs. Exhale, angle the toes in. You might be really feeling that on the outside of your hip and the glute med area. Inhale, opening the leg. And exhale, centering, angling that toe in. Keep this going side to side. Inhale, opening. Exhale, closing. Just in your own timing, side to side. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Angle those toes in as you close. And again, your core will be working because you're moving away from the center line. And as soon as you do that, your core will activate to stabilize your pelvis. So you might be feeling your core working. Now, to make this easier, you can bend one leg and just work one leg at a time, and then switch sides. So the easier version is bend one leg and then move the opposite leg. And you could go side to side or work on one side for a little bit. And that gives you more stability in the pelvis. Just see which one you prefer. We're just going to do one more round and then finish up. Take a rest, just let your legs go. It's more comfortable, bend your knees. And just rest. And observe the natural rise and fall of the breath. So breathing is one of the few mechanisms in our body that we can consciously control with our nervous system, but normally it just goes on automatically. So it's part of two parts of our nervous system. The part that works automatically and the part that we control consciously. Blinking our eyes is a similar function. So yoga is making what is normally very unconscious or automatic. It's making it conscious or intentional. And this training of the mind and the body is said to help us become more conscious and intentional in our lives. So we're choosing what we're doing with our lives rather than our life just happening to us. So this is the secret effect of these practices. All right. So I'm just going to do quite a simple pose now that works with the legs, but also the lower back. A lot of you have lower back stuff going on. So you're going to hold your knees either on top or underneath. If you have knee issues, knee replacements, things like that, you might want to hold underneath. It creates a buffer. And then the other thing you might want to do, for those of you with lower back pain, which is quite a few of you, you can put a small cushion, not a big one, but a small one or a blanket, just a folded blanket underneath the pelvis. And for some lower backs, especially compressed ones, this will feel much better. So don't have the pillow or block any higher than the waist. And it also gives you more range of motion if you find it hard to get your knees to your chest. And it also makes your legs a little longer for bringing them up to the sky. So you'll feel like your hamstrings are a little longer with that block. So feel free to add that if you like. I'm going to use no block today. My back is saying that it prefers that. So listen to your body. So exhale, draw your knees in, and then inhale, bring your legs up to the sky and your arms. They can move overhead again, or you can just skip the arms. Exhale, bring your knees to your chest. Now the trick to this, if you want to get this, sometimes it's really good to do it without the arms because we tend to use our hands a lot to draw our knees in. And what you want to do is you want to use your core to draw your legs in. So my teacher, Viji, who's in her 70s now, she always says, feather, touch, light, touch of the knees. Feather, light touch of the knees. There we go. So you don't want to pull in too much. So try without the hands. And see if you can draw the knees in using your core from the pelvic floor all the way to the belly button. Draw your belly in, and it's quite a different feeling. Flex your toes towards your nose as you come up. Now, if this is too much, you can do one leg at a time, like this. You could also have your leg on a stool or a bench. You have a lot of mobility issues. And if you want to make it harder, try touching your toes further away from you as you bring your legs down, and at the end, draw your knees into your chest. So I'm going to show that way now. I'm going to show the arms as well. Inhale, coming up. This is called Urdhva Prasrita Padasana. This is the Sanskrit for this pose. Exhale, I'm touching my toes down, and then I'm doing apanasana. Apanasana. Knees to chest. Inhale, Urdhva Prasrita Padasana, the legs coming up to the sky. Exhale, apanasana. Knees to chest, working the apana energy, the grounding energy. This pose helps us ground our energy. It's also good for constipation. It's also good for decompressing the lower back. Now, if you want to make it harder still, bring your legs further away when your legs come down, and then at the end of the exhale, draw the knees in. So that's really getting into the core now. You can do this one leg at a time. If it's too much with both legs, it always makes it easier. You can also skip the arms if your shoulders are not enjoying this experience. Just skip the arms. And last time. And rest. You might rest by hugging your knees to your chest with the hands under the knees or on top. Or it might be more comfortable for you to stretch your legs out or bend the knees with the feet on the ground. So this pose is the full asana. Asana means a posture that allows us to be asa, or present in this moment as it is. This can be very helpful when we're worried about anything that's hitting
our lives. It's very helpful to just sink into the present moment and let go of the past and the future. And just cultivate mindful awareness of the present moment. The more you do that, you will tend to feel happier, more at ease, more joyful, more resilient to the ups and downs of life. So this is the ultimate grounding pose, Apanasana. And you can do this one every day without any other yoga. You can move it first a few times before you stay. When you're ready, stretching your legs out. So we're going to move into some leg stretches, but we're going to start them with a bit of core work because a lot of you had wanting to work on core as something important to you. And the core in yoga we call the mula or the root. It's at the pelvic floor up to just below the belly button. It's our root, and our legs are part of that root. So a lot of our body is our like the roots of a tree. So when you're ready, you're going to bring your arms to your place, either overhead or any other place. Again, you can slide your arms along the floor beside you if that feels better. So inhale, bringing your arms up. You're going to exhale. You're going to bring one leg up to your place and maybe hold the thigh. Now, if this is too much, you can bend the opposite leg. It makes it a lot easier. So if you're doing with a bent leg, you're just going to do one side for about 3 to 4 times and then switch. If you are doing it with straight legs, feel free to do side to side. You can do it either way, it really doesn't matter. And it's nice to point and flex your feet as you move so that you get into the feet as well. Notice if one hamstring is a bit different than the other. Now, to get the core in there, start to exhale before you start to move. And feel like your core is lifting your leg rather than your leg lifting your leg. It's quite different. For those of you who have studied Pilates classes, I know you understand this. I actually have never officially taken a Pilates class, but Pilates people always tell me a lot of what I do is similar to what they do. So feel like your core, the pelvic floor, all the way to the belly button is moving that leg, and then you get the leg stretch so that you're working your whole mula or your root from the belly button down to the feet and the toes. If you want to be really fancy, you could grab your big toe as you come up, but that's a little bit tough. Even for me, it's a little bit challenging, so you might not want to do that, but if you're very flexible, feel free to grab your big toe. I do have a practice that my teacher, Shooter in India, gave me that I do that about 6 times on one side and grab my big toe each time, but I have to bend my opposite leg to do it, so it's a little tough. So after doing 4 to 6 rounds according to your breath pattern, you're going to stay on one side. We usually start with the left, but feel free to start with your easy side. And that will kind of neurologically warm up your harder side. And you're holding behind your thigh. Your other leg can be bent if you like. That makes it easier. And exhale, bend your knee into the chest. And inhale, straighten the leg. And press your leg into your hands with a little bit of resistance It's called the PNF response. You're kind of tricking the muscles into relaxing. Exhale, draw the leg towards you and bend your knee into your chest, getting into the hips, lower back. Inhale, straighten. Just working on tracking the knees. Just keep the knees nicely aligned as you do this. You can relax the foot as you draw the leg in and then flex the toes towards your nose as you press out. And again, you can press your thigh into your hands and hold there for up to 10 seconds to stretch a bit more. So feel free to add that extra piece or just keep it moving. So I'm going to show that a little bit more this time. Inhale, stretch the leg, toes towards the nose, press the thigh into the hands and hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If that hold is too long, you can make it shorter. Exhale, draw it in. One more time, inhale. Hold it. Try to root that hip down to the ground. It will want to pop off the ground. And draw it in, and we're going to do the other side. Okay. So draw that knee into the chest, hold underneath the thigh. And you'll probably feel a stretch in the opposite hip. You can always bend that opposite leg. It makes it much easier. Okay, so feel free to do that. You can also have that opposite foot at the wall to help you ground down. This is also really great for the lower back, this stretch, as well as for the legs and feet. Inhale, and the hips, of course. Inhale, extend the leg up, flex the toes towards the nose. And if you like, press the thigh into the hands for just a few seconds to start. Exhale, draw the leg in, press the belly, feel the stretch in the opposite hip perhaps, into the thigh. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bend. Inhale, extend. Pressing the thigh into the hands. Exhale, bend. Now you can start extending that hold if you like, or keep it moving. You can count up to 10 seconds to help release the hamstrings. So drawing in at the end of that hold. One more time. Just holding a little bit longer if you can. So I'm pressing my thigh into my hands with resistance. Exhale, drawing it in. Draw both knees into the chest. Just do some asana. Exhale, knees into the chest. Inhale, knees away. You can hold underneath the knees. Or don't use the hands and try to really use your core to move the legs. And you can challenge yourself by bringing the toes almost to the floor or to the floor. That just makes it a bit more of a core exercise. Make sure your hip flexors aren't tensing up. If they are, do hold on to your legs. You can also put a belt behind your legs and hold on to your legs that way, or a towel. And last time. And just hugging your knees on top, underneath, or relax your legs and take a rest. All right, so we have time to do our deeper leg stretches now. So if you have a belt or a towel or a scarf, get that. And you can create a loop if you like for that. And we'll put one more light on back here. That's going to help a bit. That looks a little better. And my camera needed a light behind it. Okay, so we're going to do one leg at a time. Start with your easy side. And you're going to put that loop on your foot, around the ball of the foot, or anywhere that's comfortable. And you're going to make your loop big enough so that when you put your hands through it and hold on to it, however you're holding on to it, whether it's a towel or a scarf or a nice yoga belt, your shoulders aren't up like this. So this, I don't think, is really great for the neck. So try to loop your shoulders down. And you could have your yoga mat straight out at this point if you want. A little more support. You could definitely be on a bed or a nice carpet. And we're going to stretch that leg nice and long now. And you can just stay here, or you can add a little bit of movement if it's uncomfortable. Inhale, point the toes, move away. Exhale, flex the toes and bring the leg towards you. And try to keep that hip coming down to the ground. I'm just going to stay because we've already moved the leg a lot. And really try to stretch into the calf, into the hamstrings. And I'm going to add on by coming up with my head. Do not do this if you have neck issues where this kind of position would aggravate your neck. This is great for strengthening the neck flexors, but if your neck is weak, you might pay for this later. So just choose this with care. It is also a wonderful one to stimulate the thyroid, we believe, by compressing it. And there is some evidence to suggest that from research that's been done of neck movements and how they stimulate the thyroid. You can add a hold after exhale. If you want to take it up a notch, you can always have that opposite leg bent to make it easier. Supta Padangusthasana. And this is Ekapada, 1 foot at a time. Supta, lying down, Padangusthasana. So classically, this is done holding the big toe. You could do it this way if you wanted to. I do have this in my practice given to me, but I do find using the belt almost more effective for getting into the whole leg. So you can make a choice on that. Let's go to the other side. And we're going to end with legs up the wall today. After all these leg stretches. So these, what I'm teaching you today, so option 1, inhale, point, exhale, flex. Option 2, you can keep that opposite leg bent. You could bring the leg to the wall as you inhale and exhale. You could have this leg up on a chair as well. That also makes it easier. Option 3 is just staying in the pose. Supta Padangustasana, Ekapada, one leg at a time. You can do this with both legs. And hopefully you're feeling your calf getting a nice stretch. Try to keep that knee straight. It will want to bend. If it's too much, again, bend the knee at any time. Or point the leg, point the foot, and then bring the foot towards you. Or you can bend the legs. I'm seeing some of you struggle a little bit, so you can always bend the knee and then straighten. If you want to take it up a notch, you can hold the big toe with your hand, and or you can exhale, bring your head up towards the knee, hold after exhale, and inhale. This is increasing the effect of the pose. Be careful, it can be hard on the neck. You want to strengthen the throat area, the front of the neck. It's a very good way of strengthening those muscles. Energetically, it's said when we compress this area that it's grounding. It's called Jalan Darabandha. For my trainees in the room. Jalan Darabandha activates Apana Vayu, that downward flow of energy. And just finishing up. And just finishing by bringing both legs into the belt or the scarf. You can just stay here, or you can stretch the legs back. Try to keep the tailbone on the ground. It will want to pop off. So don't go into halasana or plow. Keep the pelvis down so that you're still stretching the legs. You might notice still that one leg is dominating. Hopefully less now that you've worked one side at a time. You can classically do this by holding the big toes or holding the outsides of the feet, which I particularly like because it really gets into my lower back and helps me decompress it. That can be a challenge. You can also bend the legs and do a happy baby as you exhale, and then inhale, straighten with the belt or without. Just pick your pose, and when you're ready, you either can do Shavasana, stretch your legs out, rest here, put a pillow under your thighs and rest that way so your lower back's very comfortable. Or for some of you, if you have a wall accessible, you can bring your legs up the wall by bringing your hips to the wall, swinging your legs up, and you can tie your thighs or ankles together or both if you have two belts. You can also put your legs up on a sofa or a chair and just rest that way. So this elevation can be helpful for increasing circulation to the legs and feet and help the venous blood return to the heart. You can also aid that process a little bit more by adding, don't do what I'm doing now. It can be a little bit unsafe, but anyway, I've done enough. I know what I'm doing. By putting that block underneath the pelvis. Okay, so pick your medicine, whichever one you want to do. We're going to stay here for a few minutes to end today. And just some long exhales. You can put your hands on your belly. You can have that block or pillow on your belly. Inhale. Expand your belly. Exhale. Make a ha sound. You can do this with the mouth open or through the nose and constrict the throat. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And stay here for up to 5, even 10 more minutes if you like. If you need to end your practice, just gradually come out of the pose that you're in and come to a seated position if that's comfortable. Otherwise, just keep lying down if you prefer. Thank you very much. I'm just going to Om 3 times. Namaste, Namaskaram. And a special acknowledgement to the Indigenous peoples of Canada today, this Truth and Reconciliation Day. Thank you for this land that we get to live, work, and play on. May past harms be healed.